Do I have everybody's attention now?
This is it, Josh! This is it!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to WrestlePoint. We're here for our Friday roundup of the week of wrestling. We've had a lot of interesting things. So we can just get right into it. I have the first one. This is the most controversial one of the week, obviously, for many reasons. Walter / Gunther. So I'll give backstory if no one knows. Obviously, you guys know, but they changed Walter's name. WWE trademarked the name Gunther Stark, who I feel like all three of us wouldn't know anything about it if you didn't until you Google search Gunther Stark and learn basically he was a Nazi. So for Walter, who's Austrian, but definitely in that history with Nazis is not good. So does anybody want to start?
Yes. Do you want to start, Dom? Actually,
I'll probably be very emotional first, so go ahead. You go first.
Okay. This is the most aside from it being Gunther Stark. I mean, they ended up pulling the trademark on Gunther Stark, but they're still going with the name change Gunther. I'm just going with the name change in general, not what they changed it to. Are you fucking kidding me? Honestly, like, why don't you just change Roman Reigns' name while you're at it? Because you're going to take the biggest star, one of the biggest stars they have, and just change his fucking name. And it's not like they've changed plenty of names before, but it's like a last name here, a first name there, but it's still kind of the same person. But no, you're changing completely who he is. And also, even though they did pull the trademark on Stark, you're not going to change. Like, we know why. Like, everyone's going to see Gunther and immediately think Stark because we know that that's what they trademark. So say goodbye to ever putting that name on a t-shirt. Say goodbye to ever merchant putting that on merch. You just lost every dime you could have ever made on Walter by changing his name. And it's also the stupidest part about the name change is it was a full-on kayfabe name change. It wasn't like they changed it on the website and one day Michael Cole was just calling him Gunther. No. Walter himself corrected the ring announcer. He said, hey, that name that you guys have been calling me for almost 3 years, that name that you guys called me a couple of weeks ago, that's not my name. My name's Gunther. He's the one that changed. In kayfabe, he's the one that changed. It's beyond ridiculous. I've never been this, like, genuinely distraught over anything that, like, nothing that, like, the New Day's ever done. Nothing that Orange Cassidy's ever done. I've never been this legitimately distraught over the presentation of a person because he's like, we can all. I mean, I think I'm the ultimate Walter fanboy on our hosting team, and
I love Walter too. I really like Walter.
Okay, well, anyway, but we know that I'm a huge Walter fan, and my first reaction was, I don't think I want to watch him anymore.
Right.
Like, it's fucking ridiculous. And Dom, I think you can bring a unique perspective on this, being on the Stark situation, you being German.
Okay, so I'll admit, this is probably the most angry I have been at WWE ever. Like, legit. Because this is not the thing about it. Like, Cody is in our little what do you want to call it?
Group
Our chat. Yeah, chat. Just let it wait it out. They're probably not gonna use the last name. Just let them use the last name. I don't think it matters. This is the reason why. Not because people might see, just because of the trademark. Like, clue in, they never even heard about the Stark change because they might not be like a smart wrestling fan. You know what I mean? They might just not watch the dirt. That's the reason I'm upset about it and still going to be upset about it and probably not going to watch 2.0 anymore is because that's how they saw him. WWE trademarked that name. Who came up with this shit? Like, I want to know if it was maybe Walter himself, because some people are like, oh, maybe Walter himself come up with it. I think if it is, then Walter should be very reflective about himself as a person in general, and like legitimately. And And if it was creative, it's really disgusting that they see him as they want to make him a stereotype right away. I remember watching a video on it was either WrestleMania um what culture, and there were like seven wrestlers who should never go to WWE. Um, of that, and they're like, what? They're gonna make Walter a guy from Vienna, and change his name and have it something stereotypical. Look what we're seeing. Even them thinking of Walter as something like a Nazi undertone or any of that, it just Austria. You can say he's not German. He doesn't really call it that. Germans and Austrians are like Canadians and Americans, kind of. Maybe even closer. Also, I'm not 100. I extremely surprised. It came not out of 100% feel because Imperium always had like Nazi-ish undertones. You can say what it means. They had Bartel. He kind of had to delete tweets because they had too similar to Nazi propaganda with like I March or something like that. That's kind of Nazi-ish. The presentation kind of was very regal and militarian. And if you think of militarian and German, most people, especially Westerners, are gonna point at that. Which I never had a problem with because Ringkampf was always kind of that, and I always thought it was like Imperium was Ringkampf turned cranked up, which I never had a problem with. But now seeing this, I'm really not gonna watch 2.0 anymore, which sucks because there's a lot of things I was actually interested in watching in the future.
But like, let me ask you something. The
Mhm.
2.0 is it strictly because of the name change? Because like, or is it because like WWE Creative is the one that it's like the same people that book the main roster are booking 2.0 now. So it's like it's not just the 2.0. It's the whole
And I
company.
honestly thought about like not watching like a lot of WWE anymore because of that. Because like it just makes me upset that a company that like promotes something like this in any form. You know, what I mean, like, and like then again, it might be like very hypocritical because they have done like offensive things like this. For me, it hit a home a little bit too close, at least
All
for
right,
me.
so I'm gonna try to play devil's advocate here a bit. So first off, obviously, it's the stupidest thing to change his name. I don't understand why they have to change everybody's name
Because
to
I
be
want
stupid.
money.
But like, so I'm not obviously. I can see WWE not knowing who Gunther Stark was. This is the same company.
Oh, come on.
But that's the problem.
They
That's
know
the,
exactly. They know
that's the
exactly
problem,
what they
though.
were
They're a
going for. They know
Can you let
multi-billion
me
exactly
finish?
what they
company.
Can
were
you
going
let
to
me
go for.
finish? Can you let me finish? This is the same company that didn't know Adam Cole's contract was up. The same
Yeah.
company that misspelled a guy's name on the release form.
Yeah.
I
Got chicken breast rice and
I'll mute down for right now. But so I can see where Vince is so like, oh, let's name him this. And first off, it doesn't make sense because Zoe Stark is already on 2.0, and there's been issues with WWE before having people's names too similarly close together. And so from what I've heard, from what research I've done for the name Gunther, um, I guess there's like a tweet from like 2 years ago where Kyle O'Reilly tagged Walter and called him Gunther. So I'm not sure if like Gunther that's like a nickname that he's used before or what. It's stupid all around, obviously, but that's obviously the Gunther Stark thing is absolutely ridiculous. I can see Dom's point of view where he says he's not interested in watching anymore because of that. Because from where he's from, I understand that completely. Me personally, it's gross that they would even try to name him after something like that. But like, I'm not trying to sound like disgusting about like I'm I'm gonna watch Walt. I'm gonna call him Walter. I'm not calling him Gunther, but he is one of my favorite wrestlers. I'll watch him regardless. But it does kind of at first when I heard him, I'm like, oh, that's gross. I'm like, really, people like even if before NXT, people are like, oh, that Gunther Stark trademark. It's definitely for Walter. So like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Vince,
I'm gonna counter the possibility that they didn't know exactly who Gunther Stark was. If they didn't know who Gunther Stark was, I think they would have issued some sort of apology. Like, we apologize to those we offended with this. They would have because they have to. They knew there's no way that this was a coincidence. There's no way of all the names in the world for a Germanic wrestler. There's no way that's just or that's just the world's biggest coincidence. I think they knew exactly what they were going for. You know, they like how many times. I mean, granted, we don't watch a lot of NXT UK because we don't get it. But how many times has Walter? But let me ask you, how many times has Walter screamed 9? Because that's what he yelled after the match when
Sounds
they were
like me, obviously.
I have no idea.
after the match he screamed. He was like 9. Like you cannot convince me unless I hear audio from the room that they didn't know who Gunther Stark was. You cannot convince me they didn't know exactly what they were going for with that.
I'm just playing devil advocate.
I'll give credit to that. I think there might be a little bit of a possibility that they didn't know, because it wouldn't surprise me, because
They're
like
so
what
out
we
of
said,
touch.
they're so out of touch. They're so fucking lazy. They misspell stuff. But that's the problem, though. They're the biggest company in pro wrestling, and they can't even make a Google search to back up. Oh, has this name been done? It just shows laziness. It's just so confident. It shows arrogance. Honestly, it's just all around pretty bad. In terms of the name Stark, it's a cool last name, honestly. Like Ricky Stark.
I mean, to be honest, if it wasn't a Nazi, it would be kind of a cool name.
Yeah, honestly, if it was the name itself, like just in terms of like sounding wise, Gunther is not bad, honestly. Like, yeah, we hate the name change, but if it could always be worse. There's always Slapjack. There's always Reckoning. There's always
Slapjack is really bad.
always T-Bar. There's always Maze. It's just the story behind the name.
There's always Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker, I don't hate.
Great wrestler.
Stupid name. Came up with it.
I know.
I'll say he came up
with it. So, what I was going to say is what I forgot to say is, in addition to, you can't put the name Gunther on a T-shirt now that now that the internet's done their homework and found out who Gunther Stark is, you can't put the name Gunther on a T-shirt. You also can't really, at least in the foreseeable future, you cannot turn him babyface. You can't.
It's gonna be they limit themselves really much a lot.
So I'll say this. Like kids that watch NXT 2.0 and stuff like that, and that they don't really do research, they'll buy, like, people buy merch no matter what. Like, I'll say
the
that.
The demographic is small, though.
Is it though? WWE has more kid fans than AEW does.
I mean, let me ask you this: When was the time you stopped like being a clued in wrestling fan? Like, when did you watch with like eyes of like the intended viewer? Like, what age?
I don't know if it's necessarily an age. I think it's like a person's age. I think it's the internet age.
Like, do you mean like when did I start like reading dirt sheets and stuff like that?
Like, when did you start knowing like stuff behind the scenes?
Like for me, it was just one like that. I think what you're talking about is more of the internet age, because I think a lot of people, it's just once that became available and once that became easily accessible, people started doing it.
Yeah, I agree, but it's a. No,
probably
it's a different so it's not a thing where we like a person will be, like let's just say 12. Like, it's not like when you turn 12 you'll eventually get smartened up. It's just in the year, whatever year on the calendar it was, what let's just say like it was like 20, like let's say 2008. It's just however old you were in 2008, that's when people smartened up.
But then again with the kid stuff, he's a heel. He's not gonna have.
What I'm saying is you can't tell him, but you can't turn him babyface.
Maybe German.
I would argue in NXT 2.0, he is probably the second biggest draw other than Braun Breaker right now.
For kids?
He may No, just for in general and the
Talking
company.
I mean,
about Rhodes in
yeah, he
general.
definitely still is. I'm more pissed because I don't like what the name change. Like, I don't like what I'm
Yeah.
thinking the name change. I think if they were planning on using him the same way they did in NXT UK, which they should, then they wouldn't have changed his name. I think the name change, I think, means they have some sort of alternate plan for him. And with WWE, that tends to never go well. I mean, yeah, Cody, you said it. You gave the legitimate example of The Rock as as a name change that went well, and you can make an argument that going from stunning Steve Austin to Stone Cold Steve Austin, but at the same time, like for The Rock, that was a repackaging that needed to happen because when he was with like the Nation of Domination, they like that was die Rocky die. That was people did not want to see him. They had to repackage him.
Yeah.
And Stone Cold, they only changed his name because his character had already made the change. And then it's like, okay, we need to repackage you around what you're doing. This was just like, you're a huge star. People love you. You're a match of the year machine. We're gonna change you. It makes no sense.
It's really like it was so bad too because Roddy and Walter had such a good match.
Yeah, it took away from it.
It took away from it. It's probably going to take a little away from the inevitable Imperium versus Diamond Mine match, which is probably going to be an incredible match also. But it does take away. I agree 100%. It takes away from it a little bit.
It's because if nothing else, it's a distraction. I think for the next at least couple of Walter matches, I don't think anyone's going to be paying as much attention to the match as being like, yeah, this is fucking Gunther now.
Well, they did come out with there's a report that came out today that WWE is not very happy with how NXT 2.0 is going.
No shit.
Like, how do you expect all these? I would say there's legitimate like probably like 5 stars in NXT 2.0.
Yeah.
Like, I would consider Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Walter, Gunther, and
Roddy Strong.
I don't know if you can consider Roy.
Ciampa's still. I think Ciampa's technically still.
I think Ciampa's gone. I think Ciampa's main roster.
Waller.
I think for now he's technically still on the NXT roster, but he's.
I think they're trying to get Waller into the MJF category where everybody hates his guts, but he's just not.
I really like Waller. I don't know.
I do too. Waller's finishing move is sick. I don't even care.
I think Waller's really good.
So let's go to the next one because we could.
We got a handful of things we need to go over.
Please.
Cody Rhodes promo.
I'll start because I have a different view than you guys. I watched the promo after you guys had been going in the chat like Cody's trying to, we reinvent he's trying to redo the pipe bomb. He's trying to be CM Punk and. All those things are pretty true. Like this promo did scream CM Punk, and I still hate Cody Rhodes, and I still hope to never see him wrestle again. But I liked it. It was like he hit on the contract thing. You kind of do have to when it comes out that he's a free agent. I think he kind of does have to address it somehow. And he kept it topical. He mentioned the Gunther thing, and you can say what you want about them always mentioning WWE, but that's if Cody wants to get cheered. If you find something that people already hate AEW fans already are looking for reasons to not like WWE, and when they give you something like we're mad about this Gunther thing, that's if you want to get them to cheer you, you gotta throw that in there. So I thought I actually thought this was a really good promo, but I also can't deny exactly what you guys were saying. What he was going for, but I liked it, and I think by the end of the promo, I think a lot of the boos that he got on his entrance by the end of the promo, I think he was getting some cheers. So I think it worked.
So I'll say I was a little too harsh on it. I just didn't understand like I get some of the references, but like Cody creating the Forbidden Door, like it's just like I just didn't really get that and his contract thing. Obviously, you have to mention it. It's such big news that like a current AEW champion is not signed under contract, and I think they were making a good moment out of a crappy situation, kind of. But I do think there is real concern with Cody moving forward because from what when Sharma Sapp talked about it, he said if you notice that Cody Rhodes is never on TV with the other EVPs, like the
He has
Young
been for a long time. Yeah,
But
I think. Yeah,
there's
I'll
a
let you.
real issue there. There's a real
Uh-huh.
issue there with them. So like, I think the thing that why Cody doesn't have a new deal is he probably wants his EVP status still, and Tony is probably not willing to give him that. So I thought it was a decent promo, but when Cody Rhodes immediately, the first thing he says out of his mouth is talking about how CM Punk cut a promo 10 years ago or whatever. It's just like you're trying to live up to expectations that you're not going to be able. That is one of the greatest promos of all time, and you're just not going to be able to deliver it how authentic it was for CM Punk to do. So there you go, to go down. I'm giving CM Punk some props there. You must be happy.
What do you mean some props today? You get props every time, but I digress. Me, I didn't like hate it. I just didn't like it because Mania was trying to piggyback off of so many things to make himself so glorify himself. And I'm like, well, is he supposed to do that as a heel? Do it as a face? Like, I kind of get now he's supposed to be a heel trying to be a face, kind of. But like, it just didn't hit for me. I still kind of ride the high of John Moxley. You can say what you want. Really impactful. Coming out party and promo for me. Really real. And you can say what you want. Guy looks good. He looks like he cleaned after himself. And I'm happy for him.
Looks like
I mean, the
he
comments
looks like he looks like he lost a bunch of weight and got himself in
Yeah,
shape.
he looks much better. He looks much younger.
Yeah, I remember when I forget which pay-per-view it was, but I dared to say Moxley looks like he's gained weight. You guys all were like stop calling him. Why are you calling everyone fat when he clearly had put on a lot of weight?
Moxley specifically. You call everyone fat.
I call fat people fat. Someone gains weight, I'll mention that they gain weight. But anyway, so this is some. I kind of want to piggyback off something Cody was saying about Cody Rhodes and the other EVPs, because now I think we've talked about the promo more or less, but there is a bigger issue in AEW that Cody was talking about, and it's that you don't know what Cody Rhodes is thinking about his own future, because not only has he not recently been seen with with the other EVPs, he hasn't in a long time been seen with the EVPs. And I think it's and I think that's on both parties. I think Cody's kind of, ever since AEW started, Cody's kind of, I think, carried himself above all the other everyone else. Like he's taking a bunch of time off to film, to like judge that game show, to film his reality show, and kind of like everything that people hate the WWE for. Like the reason AEW exists is to be like a company where wrestlers wrestle, and that's it. And Cody's, since day one, he's kind of flown in the face of all of that with all these extra projects he takes on, and he's really kind of he kind of has his nose in the air a lot of the time. So he's alienated himself from AEW brass for a long time, and I've thought for a long time, like, because not like the EVPs, some of them are going to be AEW for life. I fully believe Omega and the Bucks would probably be with AEW for the rest of their career, but if one of them was going to leave, it was always going to be Cody that leaves. It was always going to be Cody that like gets in, uses AEW to make himself a wrestling star and just a reality TV just celebrity, get his net worth up and leave. And it's kind of getting to that point where I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves if 2022 was his last year in AEW. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
All right, I'm gonna just give a question that I didn't prep you guys for. It's a very, what percentage would you give Cody Rhodes coming back to WWE?
50-50.
Oh, that's high.
Wow, that's high.
Yeah, I mean, and I would say even more but I don't know if WWE would want him back. He's taking a lot of pot shots at WWE.
So I was gonna say around 30.
I agree.
Like I thought it was gonna be the highest, but like think about it. No matter how rich Tony Khan is, WWE can afford more. WWE can give you so much money that it's ridiculous that you would be a nutcase to turn it down. And they can offer him his own TV show on the USA Network, like they have The Miz. They can do all this stuff. So I can see it being a real possibility that Cody comes back. I don't think it's likely, I think it would be more like he leaves and does like one-offs with like New Japan and stuff like that rather than
In
going.
New Japan, he really didn't do one else. He was more like another Bullet Club guy. And honestly, he was not a great Bullet Club member. Like a lot of great like wrestlers who were Bullet Club member were just not very good. Adam Cole wasn't a good Bullet Club member. Hangman Page was an awful Bullet Club member. Honestly,
One of these days, wait, one of these days we have to have a show where Dom just ranks the Bullet Club members in the tier list.
Yes, that'd be great.
I will say, Cody wasn't very good Bullet Club member,
Owens will go higher than all of those guys.
Yeah, but I kind of liked Cody and Kenny's who's the leader of Bullet Club.
I like the storyline, but just in general, like
I feel like that's the storyline a lot. Every time I hear about the Bullet Club, it's who's the leader.
Honestly, that's the storyline. Not anymore. Right now, it's like, what the fuck even is Bullet Club?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the next one. This is one I'm very much looking forward to talking about.
Oh boy.
Okay. Yeah, I started last time. Someone else can start.
I'll start Sting. Sting is going to ruin your tag team division single-handedly because they're going to get a championship match. Sting ain't losing the championship match, and Jungle Express is going to get buried, and they're going to be transitional champions. Because
I hope you're wrong, but I can see where you're coming from.
I hope I'm wrong too, but beating after the week before the Acclaim comes out, we're the number one ranked tag team, and then they lose to a 95-year-old Sting and Darby Allin, and now it's like, now they're gonna get a title shot. They have to, right? I feel like if you beat the number one ranked tag team, and I just don't like Sting. Sting needs to be more of a mentor than a partner.
Yeah, I agree.
I would like him in the Tully role. What Tully's doing with FTR, just be a mentor and not
Iron role as well.
Yeah, not be the Sting. I hate to break it to you, Sting. You weren't even the number one guy when you were at top of your game. That was Ric Flair. That was the Woo Man.
Even with the first tag team he was ever in, he was with the Warrior in Memphis. Sorry,
he was the top guy in Impact for a while.
And then back. All right, you guys can go. I don't want to say too much.
So I don't want to put too much on Sting himself because he at the end of the day you have to be a company guy. If the boss is telling you this is what your match is going to look like, I mean maybe you do take it upon yourself to be like, I think we should be presenting ourselves differently. But at a certain point, you kind of do have to do what your boss is telling you. I want to put it more on the people booking him. They need to understand that even though it's pro wrestling and you do have infinite control over what it looks like, if Michael Jordan were to step, Michael Jordan's in his early 50s, Sting is 62. If Michael Jordan were to step on the floor right now, how good do you think he would be? Do you think would he?
I still think he would be pretty good.
I think.
But do you think he'd be performing at his prime? Because they're booking Sting as if he was in his prime. Sting's no selling table spots. Sting's taking on two guys at once. They're booking a 62-year-old like he's still in his late 20s, early 30s. And I've been saying, how long? When was the first time we talked about this? And I said they're making Darby too secondary to Sting. I've been saying it for months.
I think after the CM Punk match. I think a little after the CM Punk match.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, I don't hate Sting. Again, this isn't anything against Sting. It's against how they're booking him, and maybe it is a little against Sting. Sting, speak up for Darby behind the scenes. When they're laying out the match and they say, okay, Darby, you're gonna get hurt and go to the back for a little bit, and Sting, you're gonna kick the Acclaim's ass for 5-10 minutes. Speak up. Say, hey, I'm 62. No thanks. How about I go to the back?
I'm 62.
How about I go to the back and Darby carries it for a little bit? That's how it should be. And I agree, Cody. I don't know if they're going to get a title shot immediately. And I'm actually, because AEW doesn't strike me as the type of company that would have transitional champions, especially the crowd does love Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. I don't know if they would make them transitional champions. So if they get a title shot, I don't know if they would. I don't know if they'd win. And that also goes to this. Also, just piggybacks off what I said a couple weeks ago. When Jurassic Express won the titles, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what the fuck they're doing booking the tag team division. This is If you want to pull up the hot take button, this is the worst booked tag team division in syndicated television history.
That's a bit much. No.
Name me a tag team division that's been booked worse.
Raw tag team division in 2019.
No, but
The brown belt. The brown belt.
The Primo and Epico
Two.
were tag team champions during the Royal Rumble of 2012. Now, like, what the hell is going on? And they were not just transitional champions; they were champions for a long time.
Yeah, but there weren't 62-year-olds.
How about this? How about this?
And title changes on cold matches.
I'll adjust your take. a little bit. This is the worst booked division with this much talent ever. Because they have the talent. Their tag teams are ridiculous.
Oh, like, no! Remember when they gave the kid to the belt to a child and Braun Strowman and just buried the Bar, probably one of the best tag teams.
Okay, the Raw tag team division was booked really bad for like a month. This has been like 2 years of terrible tag team booking.
I disagree.
I just think they don't want to give it to like the big tag teams. Like,
they just don't know the Young Bucks don't want to give it to any team that's better than them. Because then people realize, oh hey, the Young Bucks really aren't that spectacular. That's why you never see FTR. That's why they're not promoted. That's why this Briscoes and FTR feud's happening over Twitter and not on TV. Because they don't want the Briscoes and FTR to put on a fucking clinic and be like,
do you see what the Briscoes said? They said, if the WWE wants us, just make us an offer.
Oh, the WWE won't touch them. They're not going to touch their criminal record. Yeah, they've already said they're never going to touch them. But that's why that feud's on Twitter. That's why that feud's on Twitter and not on AEW television. Because the Young Bucks know if we bring them in and them and FTR have a fucking clinic, then it's going to make us look bad, and people might realize that FTR is way better than us, and the Briscoes are way better than us.
Dom, you're an AEW guy. Did Jurassic Express win last Dynamite or Dynamite before that? Or was that a Rampage?
They won at the... Because
I don't think they've been on a Dynamite since they've won the title. I know they had a Rampage match with...
They won at the first... I think it was Battle of the Belts?
No, Battle of the Belts was Sarah.
Or that week. They won that week.
So it's been like two and a half weeks since we've seen them on Dynamite. And... we've seen Sting and Darby every single week, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm kind of done with the topic. I want to move on.
All right, this is the last AEW topic of the day. Adam Cole, AEW. Let me start because Adam Cole is probably one of he's probably not in your guys' top 5, maybe not even top 10. I think he might be in my top 5 of wrestlers. I like consistent. Like, I love watching his stuff with the Red Dragon, and I'll give them a break this week. Red Dragon wasn't on because Kyle O'Reilly had a kid, so I'm gonna save that. But my God, I don't hate Orange Cassidy as much as Eric, but like, what are we doing here? Like, I think he's had 5 matches that involved Orange Cassidy.
And can I ask you a question? So we know Adam Cole hasn't lost any of those matches, but how many of them has he won clean without cheating?
Probably 0.
Was this one cheating though? This last one?
A low blow. He didn't want the low blow. That's cheating. That's very cheating.
And fantastic booking of Adam Cole. You can't beat Orange Cassidy clean.
And what's going to happen next week is Orange Cassidy's probably going to beat him. Just because that's how AEW likes it. You don't think?
No,
I hope not. But like,
I mean, if we're going by, if you don't look at who the people are when you have babyface and heel, if the heels keeps getting over on the babyface, then by like wrestling law, eventually the babyface has got to get one back. If you're not looking at who they are, if you're not looking at it's Adam Cole and Orange fucking mascot Cassidy, then logic says that eventually the babyface has got to get one up, and Tony Khan loves Orange Cassidy. Again, 76% win ratio does Orange Cassidy have. I'm not saying I think he's going to beat Adam Cole. I'm just saying don't be surprised if he does.
So like, they want the lights out match. I think the lights out match is like their version of Hell in a Cell, sort of. Just like the one like after a big long feud. Yeah.
I mean,
like cell wise, but like like back in the day, WWE when
Oh,
there was
okay,
like a
okay.
blood feud, you
Yeah,
wanted the
yeah.
Hell in a Cell to end it all. So I'm not looking forward to. They've had great matches, of course. They're even though Eric doesn't. Orange Cassidy is not a bad wrestler,
He's
and
not.
Adam Cole's a great wrestler.
His
So they're
stupid
having
gimmick.
Yeah.
they're having good matches, but like
If you take out the parts where Orange Cassidy tries to shove Adam Cole's hands in his own pockets.
but like WWE would get mercified for this if we've had a match with two same people for straight weeks and they've done it and we've killed them for it. So you have to do the same thing with AEW. Next week, I wouldn't be. I'm gonna say this. I wouldn't be shocked if Johnny Gargano cost Adam Cole the match. I would not be shocked.
That'd be so. If they, I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. I'm just saying that's so much stuff going on with Adam Cole now. Adam Cole's got his thing with the best friends, but he's also got his thing with. Am I with the Bucks or am I with Red Dragon? And you're going to throw Johnny Gargano on top of that? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did it because it's AEW.
I mean,
and
AEW
throws all their stuff in a blender and presses go. But that'd be too much stuff for Adam Cole to have going at one time.
Yeah, but like, so what's the numbers again? So Red Dragon plus Adam Cole is 3, plus the Young Bucks, that's 4 or 5. How many best friends?
Best friends. Well, let's just call it. I mean, 3, but then you also you could include Wheeler Yuta, but then you also could include Britt Baker and Chris Statlander because they've been involved.
So Candice LeRae will not be there. She's pregnant. She's very pregnant, and she's under contract with WWE. So, but I don't know. I'm not looking forward to it as much as I should for an Adam Cole blow-off match.
Yeah. For me in AEW, I'm looking forward for tonight. Unfortunately, I had the news that match that got pulled, which I was really looking forward to.
Romero has COVID, so
dude, Roppongi Vice versus Young Bucks was the first New Japan match I have ever seen, and that was Wrestle Kingdom 11.
I'm not gonna be honest, Dom. I'm gonna be honest here. When I read the news, I laughed because I'm like, Tom was looking forward to that match.
And plus, there were a good tag team. They had good matches with Young Bucks, and I would have, but whatever. And if you can't know by my name, I don't know if you've seen it. I think Pac's gimmick change is my favorite thing that happened this year so far. Because that gimmick change is so
That's so cool.
Oh, it's so cool. Like in terms of like gimmicks, AW is just so good. Like, oh,
are they though?
I'll say they've got good ones. Like they've gotten good ones, but like then
really
for every Malachi Black on the roster, there's no
Malachi Black. Andrade El Idolo has a really awesome presentation.
I don't know.
He wears a suit. That's all it is he wears a suit.
No, he's like he feels like a cocaine mafia boss. Like he has like
because he wears a suit and he wears sunglasses.
Yeah. Dom, he did that in WWE. He wore a mask to the ring,
but he didn't wear like a cocaine like suit jacket.
And he just bought half a
it's just a suit.
The office. The most
he feels
useful...
I like it. Okay, I don't care what you say. You're not gonna change my mind. I like it.
I will say the House of Black. Brody King. I never knew who he was before this, but he looked sick. Sick.
He's pretty cool.
Who does my connections cut?
You lagged there for a second. Brody King, I think it's sick. Oh, also the music that they had, that's Brody King's band. I don't know.
Oh, cool.
All right, so now we're gonna get into the WWE portion. We have a WWE portion and an Eric custom question. So who should beat Roman? Roman is over 500 in certain days. I mean, I don't. Dom, what's this shaking the head for?
I don't know.
If you asked me this question, I mean, I had an answer to this question like months ago. I thought that it should have been I thought it should have been Jimmy Uso, but then the way things have progressed, because at the beginning of this tribal chief thing was all about family, and I thought the way they were going was the Usos were going to take back the family. So I was like, back in those days, I said Jimmy Uso, Jimmy or Jay for sure should beat him. But yeah, the way things are going, I honestly, I
have a pick.
I honestly think Brock. I think Brock should beat him.
Really? So my pick is not on the main roster right now. He is all. So my pick originally would have been Walter until he got his name changed, so that like soured me a little bit. It's not Braun Breaker. I think Carmelo Hayes should be the one to beat Roman Reigns.
Come on.
Carmelo Hayes is a fucking star. I don't fucking care what you say. He obviously you need to make a star of whoever beats Roman. Like Brock is already an established star. Brock does not need to beat Roman. Someone that you need to make a star-worthy performance. That's how you get it.
But you also need somebody that has some sort of star level credibility, so that the loss doesn't really hurt Roman. Losing to Carmelo Hayes would make Roman look pretty bad.
Well, I'm not saying now. I'm like, this is like a year from now.
Okay, so if we're talking hypothetically, okay, Veer Mahan should beat him.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's not a serious pick.
I have my pick. I'm gonna pick Tommaso Ciampa.
That's not a bad pick. I think
there's somebody who needs to. I think whoever needs it, whoever wins needs to be somebody coming up. That's why I don't like Brock Lesnar. The premise of that, because like,
Brock Lesnar probably will beat them, but
does it really elevate Brock Lesnar if he beats Roman Reigns? It doesn't. Tommaso, who had really good babyface underdog storylines, and I feel like he would be a really good underdog storyline. And
he was also a killer heel,
genuine guy. I think Tommaso Ciampa is the one that should go on. But yeah,
Tommaso Ciampa. Can we just say how he was such a fucking good heel?
Yeah,
coming up with no.
He tweeted movies. He tweeted movie spoilers. just because he wants to be a dick.
And then
I want to say why I picked Brock is because we know somehow, some way, we know they're going to have a match at WrestleMania, and I just think if you want to keep, like, there's a reason they keep bringing Brock back, and it's because of the aura around him and the draw that he is and the way that he moves the needle. And you can't. I mean, it probably would still be fine if he did lose to Roman again. But like, are you really gonna have Brock lose? What was their first match? Crown Jewel. Are you really gonna have Brock lose 2 pay-per-view matches? And I'm gonna say that close together, even though it's not like, if for all intents and purposes, that close together. But 2 pay-per-view losses for Brock in less than a year, it's a lot for Brock. So I think for the direction me picking Brock was more based on the direction they're going, not necessarily just looking at the rosters in a vacuum with who should beat Roman. It's just based on the direction they're going. I think since they're having another match, I don't think Brock can lose.
So
it keeps Roman loses nothing from losing to Brock. It's Brock fucking Lesnar.
So your scenario though. Are you a unification match? Because you say Brock Lesnar doesn't lose again and he has the title.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be unification. Like Becky Lynch held 2 belts.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that sort
that's
of...
not you? But that like what I mean. Yeah, what I thought what you meant by unification is like that Brock has both of them. He's just like, all right, fuck the Universal. This is now the unified World Championship.
Yeah, but still, you're saying that you're going to have a championship versus championship match.
Yeah, and yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't love that idea because of the brand split, and like it just makes it more pointless. Also, another person I would have said if his gimmick was completely different and he went back to his NXT gimmick was Sami Zayn. Underdog Sami Zayn is one of the best characters I've seen in a really long time, but he's
I just want to say my connection cup before I got to say this. When you were saying like you don't like the idea of like title versus title with the brand split and stuff, it worked pretty well when Becky had the triple threat with Ronda and Charlotte at WrestleMania and she came out with 2 belts. Worked pretty well for her. It can work.
Afterwards, did she though? I mean, she had a feud with Lacey Evans afterwards. So.
She's still over. She's still over. It's
Becky Lynch.
Yeah. It's not that she's not like the storyline itself, but
all right. So we really don't know who's going to be Roman. Eric's the only one that has like a firm idea of who should be Roman. Mm-hmm. Mine was more like I want Kamala Hayes on the roster. So, does pro wrestling need a third? major promotions.
Where did
my
these
first-
questions come from? I thought we were gonna do some booking later. All these
I thought.
questions.
Did you skip over your Royal Rumble one, Cody?
That's the last one.
Okay. So the only reason I thought of this promotion is I was thinking earlier today when we were this was like a couple days ago when we were talking about like Adam Cole, and I've been thinking about like, where the fuck's Jay Lethal been? You just kind of think like people were so happy when AEW first started because okay, now all these guys that WWE wastes have a home where they can be featured, but now we're seeing WWE still has their same problems. They have way too much talent. Even when they leave and go to AEW, you see what's happening. Like Malachi Black, Andrade, Pac, like all these Miro, all these guys that you wish that you were happy to went to AEW because now you finally get to see them. Now they're getting lost in the shuffle. Same thing with Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal's had like 3 matches, so that's why I thought of the question because my answer was, I think, and I'm not saying like it's hard. Like I'm saying yes, they do. There does need to be a third major promotion, at least in the United States, because there's just way too much talent. Like it's ridiculous that, and you can say what like you can also attribute it to people who AEW wastes too much time with on TV every week, like the Best Friends 2.0, Daniel Garcia, all these guys that get at Darby and Steve.
Stop again.
No. What I'm not saying like those people should never be on TV, but what I'm saying is like Jay Lethal's never on TV, Miro's never on TV, Malachi Black's only on TV every couple of weeks. And what I'm saying is that's first of all because they have way too much talent, but also
Miro's also hurt.
Miro's hurt, and I think Malachi is
hurt.
Sorry, okay, so Miro's hurt, but guys like Jay Lethal, like we haven't seen Powerhouse Hobbs in a while. Say what you want about him being boring. Hobbs is a future star, but you see, like there's guys that need more airtime, but there's too much talent. But then also, and this is a WWE thing too. They do prioritize people that should not be on TV. Best Friends and Orange Cassidy are on TV every week. They don't need to be. They just don't. They're not stars. 2.0 is on TV every week, which is probably even more egregious than Best Friends because they're also just like they're nothing. They're literally nothing at all. Like at least I can say that Best Friends are like really over. I can at least say that like their cult fans really like seeing them. But like 2.0 doesn't even really have like a cult following. You can say the same thing. WWE has a bunch of people. Like my thing is there's way too much talent to only have 2 at this point because now people that were being wasted in WWE and Ring of Honor has never been huge as far as like syndicated TV. They're still being like AEW is running into the same problems. There's just too many people that just need time.
All right, I'm gonna give my take. I'm glad it should I think say like US specific because if I think of a third promotion, I think of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, that's why I meant it to the
You can
US.
say what you want about them, but in terms of talent and in my opinion, storyline, they're up there with the best. They can give WWE and AW some money, and I think a lot of and I feel like they would have been bigger in the US already by now, but a lot of unfortunate circumstances had happened. Their TV deals are a bit different than in America because they have very strict copyright laws, and right now they're only on Access TV, and they're expanding outwards, and they're still doing a big effort on that. And I feel like a lot more stars are appearing there for New Japan, and I think will continue to. But then again, it's a Japanese company. Some people just want to stay at home, And the rise of AEW hindered a lot of what New Japan was doing, and it set them back a couple years. So I agree with the premise, but I feel like there's so many smaller promotions that get like so much an eye on that it doesn't hurt that much because if somebody were like Pac were to go to Impact, you still were to able to follow him, you still were to able to do that. They just wouldn't get as much of a bigger platform.
As a fan, no, because I already watched too much.
There's already a lot of pro wrestling. I agree. Yeah.
I would say, I mean, to an extent, yeah. Like, I feel like obviously it's not at the level it used to be, or at like a level to consider it major. But Impact is growing quite well recently with all this having other people show up. I feel like Impact is a third. Impact is a third promotion, right?
Eh,
Yeah, we're talking.
Not really. They get 100,000 people watching them a week. They
I don't
don't
consider it
fucking count.
major.
I'm talking major, like that to be on a major network. You know, is Impact still on Pop TV?
No
it's on
fucking clue.
Access.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, like another network that can get like
The closest you got
hundreds of thousands to millions. You know, like another TNT.
The closest Impact got to being like major was when they were on Spike TV.
Yeah.
So
I fucked that one up really good.
Yeah,
Thanks, Vince Russo.
Monday Night War.
Yeah, I'm more against it than for it, just because like there's also so much wrestling, and like AEW is doing all right. I have a lot of critiques with AEW and WWE, so it's like it's going to be more for me to bitch about. So I'd rather not. All right. So last question: who should win the Rumble? This is not
for this question. I wanted to clarify. We're not giving our picks right now, right? We're saying like
no, we're not giving who you would have win the Rumble if you were booking this Rumble. Now, and you can't be like someone like CM Punk because
it has to be somebody like realistically can win. Yeah, I'll give my men's one. I'll give my men's one first because you guys can probably guess based on my answer to the Roman question. I think Brock should, it's tough. It's tough because if Brock, it's kind of like when Brock won Money in the Bank, and it's just like he doesn't need it, and like when Braun Strowman won Money in the Bank, he doesn't need it. Like winning the Royal Rumble in a sense should be some sort of star making thing. It really hasn't been a star maker in a long time because you've got like Randy's won it. Seth's won it. Like guys who are already established have won it. And of all the people that don't need to be established, Brock does not need to be established. But again, I think they've already laid it out. Like the Brock Roman storyline, and it slowed down because they have to keep themselves busy with other people until WrestleMania. But when it was on, it was fucking hot. And how do you up the how can you up the stakes? They have two titles, title for title. That's how you up the stakes. So that's why I think Brock should win. And I saw the comment about Big E, and the second part of my answer is if Roman loses to Seth, Big E should probably win.
So, okay, I'm gonna give my pick. I think who should win. I'm gonna say Kevin Owens. I think even though he's a star practically already, and you're so I'm going on the basis if Seth beats Roman. How great of a story would be if Kevin wins the Rumble, Seth and Kevin are aligned right now, and we have like Kevin going back in his work. And I just think Kevin would be
actually okay. Yeah, I won't change my answer, but I like that better than Big E winning if Seth beats Roman.
I think Big E's done in the title picture. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah,
he wasn't on Raw. He wasn't on Raw this week. I don't see him winning the Rumble.
Yes, the highest odds though, betting odds, so that's something.
Yeah, but
don't look at the betting. We have to make predictions. Why are you looking at the betting odds, you cheater?
I'm just saying.
I would hate this, by the way.
No, don't do that.
I would not like that. I would not like that. Roman does not need another Rumble appearance for a while.
Yeah, Roman already owns the Rumble. So, Tom, who's your pick for the men's?
I don't have one. I don't know. Like,
there's no one you think should win at all.
There's not a big appearance stand out for me. No,
really.
All right. What about the women's?
Liv Morgan.
I knew he was going to say Liv Morgan.
This is the reason. I think Liv Morgan should win it and challenge Charlotte for the championship.
Charlotte. Oh.
See, I was going to say Liv, but I was going to say to challenge Becky because I think. But I was going to say Becky, but at the end of the day, for me, it wouldn't matter which one she faced because like. Liv Morgan's she's not going to win. Let's get that out of the way first. She's not going to win. We all know that it's between two people. We all know who they are. But Liv Morgan's done such an amazing job. What was the face? Bianca and Bailey?
Oh,
But anyway, Liv Morgan's done an amazing job of getting herself like organically over and getting a lot of organic babyface sympathy, which is why they're not going to do anything with her. WWE hates when people get over without their help. They fucking hate it. Hashtag Rusev Day. But it's just at the point now where but Daniel Bryan got so astronomically over they just couldn't ignore it anymore.
It was impossible,
Yeah.
Impossible.
And same thing like Kofi Mania. But like Liv Morgan, she's so sympathetic right now. It's to the point like I don't give a shit about I'll say the characters. I don't want to say the people. I don't give a shit about the characters because they're characters. But when I see Liv Morgan lose, it kind of does hit you in the feels a little bit these days when she loses. Like you want her to win, even like booking be damned, you want her to just win, even if it doesn't make sense booking wise. So I think her winning would be an amazing feel good moment, and then if you were to put the title on her on at Mania, because I think the plan's got to be to change one or both of the women's titles at Mania. Star Maker.
I agree.
So Liv Morgan's your pick, right?
Liv Morgan's my pick. My pick for sure. My for sure.
All right. So I'm gonna go a little bit out of the box.
Oh boy, Lita.
The winner of the Royal Rumble for the women should be Ronda Rousey.
Oh, okay.
Becky and Ronda can finally have their singles match that it should have happened. I don't know why they put Charlotte in the match. That pissed me off a lot. But Ronda Rousey, which I
have an idea for why.
I also think it's not like a too much of a stretch that Ronda could be in the Rumble.
Not necessarily.
We haven't heard from her in a while, and Sean Ross Sapp did say that he would not be surprised if Ronda Rousey appears sometime in the near future.
And if she's in it, she has to win because it's Ronda. I think. Oh, this is a UFC thing. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. So what I was gonna say was.
Yeah, he is not.
My theory. My
good.
theory for why Charlotte's in the Rumble is I think it seemed, and especially based on the promo segment, I think they're building to Charlotte versus Lita at WrestleMania. So I think Charlotte's only in the match to get eliminated by Lita.
Yeah, I can see that.
I could see that too. I can also see Bayley. I don't want to give away, but I don't know if Bayley's going to be back in time, but I also do think they're kayfabing Sasha's injury a little. I think she was hurt, but I don't think she's hurt for as long as they said she was hurt for. But
I think Bayley's gonna.
We don't know anything. We're a bunch of Gunthers, and we are just a bunch of
we're not Gunthers.
Scrooges. And then so I'm excited for the Rumble. This is probably the most excited I've been for a Rumble in a very long time because like you kind of can predict what way it's gonna go, but at the same time, it's like
I want to quickly respond to the UFC. Because the guy that's commenting is one of my good buddies. So he'll definitely get this reference. The reason that's not going to happen is because Nagano's a piece of shit. That's Brock Lesnar showed up at a UFC event and he was like, Nagano's a piece of shit. Miocic is a piece of shit.
Oh, there's something Brock was doing.
Yeah. So I'm very excited for the Rumble. I'm very excited. I don't know who's going to win. I have an idea, but we're going to save that for probably next Friday because it's Rumble.
Yeah, because the Rumble's 2 Sundays from now.
Yeah,
I'm excited for it.
Next Saturday.
Oh yeah, they do Saturdays now.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot
next
about
Saturday.
That. I'm excited because there's so much. I think there's just a million different directions where the pay-per-view can go as far as who wins what match. I'm really excited.
Also, I'll ask you guys, what do you think about Ali not getting his release granted?
Fucking ridiculous.
He did post a Twitter picture.
Ridiculous.
He posted a Twitter picture today with a bunch of stacks of money and burning them.
It's fucking ridiculous. They have no problem releasing half the fucking roster 3 or 4 times a year. 3 or 4 times a year they release half the roster. You can't release one guy that you don't use and doesn't want to be there. It's unfucking real.
I agree. It's really bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. It is a really terrible look. Like you release all these people, and then the person that wants to get out, and then after you already granted a release to some other superstar a month ago in Tony Storm, and now you're saying, no, sorry. And Mustafa Ali hasn't been on TV in 2 months.
Yeah, bad.
It's been before Survivor Series. He's been on TV before Survivor Series.
Fucking so dumb. It's just so fucking stupid. And they'd actually do themselves a lot of favor if I understand the way that their contracts work. is if they granted them, because I think what a big thing that would make WWE look really bad is if he leaves WWE and then immediately gets picked up and becomes a huge star somewhere. If they released him, wouldn't that? And again, I might be understanding their contract structure wrong. If they release him, he'd have to wait 90 days, right?
Yeah.
But if
it depends if they have
if they have the clause, if the clause is in his contract, which is in everybody's contract, so they could release him, and then he'd have to wait long enough to where people just kind of forget about him. Versus you let his contract expires, and now all of a sudden he immediately gets picked up and becomes a star. That looks way worse on WWE than we haven't seen this guy in months and months and months. So that's not good for him. Versus, wow, WWE really lost one, So they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah. So we went through a bunch of stuff today. Some good, some bad. Dom looks like he wants to take another nap. Dom's probably mad that we're not fantasy booking right now. We do have a planned fantasy book tomorrow. We haven't done it in so long because we've been busy. Dom, sorry, I got COVID. Sorry, I was on my deathbed. I'm sorry you couldn't book your goddamn fake roster. But that anything you guys want to talk about, add before we get out of here?
No.
Can I ask a question? Did you guys watch NXT on Tuesday, right? All the way through?
I did.
Most part, yeah.
I saw a picture, I should say, and I want to ask. Was Veer Mahan in a tag team match on NXT?
No.
Okay, I saw a picture of him with. Remember,
Grayson Waller, a guy, his bodyguard that came out now.
Yeah, because I saw a picture. I saw a picture of the bodyguard. I saw a picture of the bodyguard and Veer in an NXT ring, and I was like, "You gotta be fucking
no,
kidding."
it wasn't Veer.
But it must have been. No, it must have been. I guess they must have photoshopped Veer in it because it was 100%. It was 100%. The picture I saw was 100% both the guys.
Yeah, it was Veer's tag.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't Veer. It's just a tall Indian guy.
Which by the way, speaking of Veer, so Cody's day is past. Dom, your day for your prediction of when Veer's going to show up is coming up.
Yeah.
Rumble.
Eric, what'd you pick?
Raw after WrestleMania.
Yeah, he's got no. There's no way it's Raw after WrestleMania.
I don't know.
I can see him showing up for the Rumble. I think Dom's going to win this one.
Yeah. It's just for one. It's just
disappointed though. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be kind of disappointed if he shows up at Rumble because he's been coming for so long, and then he's just gonna go in the Rumble. He's gonna lose.
And he's gonna go in and lose.
What if Veer Mahan wins the Royal Rumble his first night?
That'd be okay. As much as I like to joke about how awesome Veer Mahan is, that'd be the stupidest thing.
Well,
I do legitimately think there is something there with Veer Mahan. You guys are he's big. He's got freakish athleticism for his size. There's definitely something they can build on. But yeah, that's why I don't think he should return at the Rumble because we know he's going to lose. You can't hype him up for months and then have him get unless the plan is have him enter the Rumble early and get a handful of eliminations and last a long time, which they won't do. It's just. Yeah, I don't think the Rumble is the time for him to return. I think it's got to be.
I heard a rumor that Austin Theory is going to be one of the final four.
Yeah,
I think they're set. They're doing it very, very poorly, but they're definitely setting him up for something.
Yeah,
I don't think they're doing that bad of a job with them, to be honest with you.
It's what they're doing doesn't scream it doesn't scream. I don't look at him and see. Even I love Austin Theory, but I don't look at him right now the way he's being presented and think future champion.
I can see him being Priest for the card title.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
All right. Well, so that was our show. We will see you possibly tomorrow if we record earlier enough for Dom's liking. So that's our show. Don't be a Gunther. Be a
Walter.
Be a Walter. Have a great one.